Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Nier Reincarnation, one more video talking about Amber from People World. Sorry for all of these videos, but I'm really excited about where the game is, and then, I'm playing Replicant and enjoying that very much, so I'm also excited about just my relationship to Nier in general. I anticipate being with Reincarnation until the end, whenever that is, and then any future games that come out. I'll jump on board with those as well. But this video, I wanted to talk about, I've been keeping an eye on social media, looking at other people react to the game, mostly JP players. So I thought I would kind of collect together what I found most interesting about their observations. But yeah, in a previous video, I talked about the 10H and 006 on the moon theory. That was the one that appealed to me the most. Partly because it made the most sense, and then that was revealed to be the truth. But now that we know that, now we can ask, so what? Why does this matter? Why is this important? Like, the cage is a way for people to be cleansed of their past sins? Why does that matter? Why is it so important that Mama, protect and transport these characters to the real world? So finally, the plot is moving. I consider the whole of Girl Monster and then Sun Moon as intro stuff to the plot. With People World, we're finally getting a start to that. It's like what I said earlier about Nier Automata. Everything leading up to endings A and B, I consider that intro as well. The plot really gets started when the virus hits. But first of all, there was a new secret archive that came in the latest chapter in Amber. And it was written by 10H. She's going through her work, doing the maintenance on the cage. So it's interesting to go back and then read those again with that in mind. It will also be interesting to get kind of more detail about how much access does 10H actually have? Looking at the records in the cage, and then is there parts that only Pod 006 looks at, for example? Next, there is the view of the Earth that we see at the very end of the final cutscene. I am not very familiar with the light side and then the dark side of Earth. It stops in its rotation. Apparently, this version of the Earth is not the same as the one that we saw in Automata or played in Automata, because in that one, Japan is on the light side. But here, with the light being on the Atlantic Ocean, that would mean that Japan is on the dark side. So perhaps this is an alternate dimension or something, or a different timeline or something. We'll get more info on that later. Next, some people have been looking at the mechanical versions, the costume stories for the mechanical versions. Thankfully, I have the two that people are looking at. One is Fio. She is dressed as 2B. And then the two pods see her. And maybe the most interesting thing here is that they note that she does not have a black box. And then if we look at Gale, she's talking to a woman A, who I think we can assume is a member of Yorha. And then the member of Yorha asks, are you a human? And then Gale says yes. And then the woman A is very surprised because I don't think any Yorha members have met any humans. But then Gale seems to doubt her identity at the end there. As of the end of Amber in People World, Mama, she's carrying, the cage characters in her as data, but with the assertion that she is going to bring them to the real world. That's going to take a physical body, and so perhaps she will acquire some bodies, some Yorha android bodies for this data. And what if we get, all of the characters in Yorha-type costume? We've seen them kind of ramp up the release of a lot of those lately, including the collaboration with the Yorha stage play. But from the info that we got from the Fio costume story, it would not be, just a straight android with a black box. It might be actually something human. And then that was something else that I talked about in a previous video where I was hoping for more than just data or just an android. I was hoping for something human. Maybe Mama has access to somehow creating humans and then implanting the cage character kind of will and consciousness into those bodies. That might be something coming later. Next, I see some people talking about the word overture. That's like an intro or like a main theme to introduce a narrative. And some people are interpreting that to mean that there's much more of the story to come. But as always, I want to caution, this might be a red herring, this might be misdirection. It could indeed be an intro, but for something that does not lie within the mobile game. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that single word. Alright, and then finally, I wanted to talk about Hina and Yuzuki being talked about in a couple places, both in the very end, the cutscene, and then also the costume stories. When they're when they're broken, when they have that hole in their chest, talking about how they are stuck in the cage. That might lend credence to my theory that the brother and sister are destined to die along with the cage. But it might be an interesting kind of a plot twist if Black Mama and Papa, if they sort of rebelled against the orders of Mama in order to get Hina and Yuzuki out of there somehow. I have no idea how that could work. Yeah, we saw the insubordination from Carrier and how he was taken out by powers high above. So Black Mama and then Papa would be risking that. But that might be like a central plot point of the next main story, if it features Hina and Yuzuki. And then to end this video, we can talk about, or I can talk about, why do I talk about mobile game shutdowns at all? I try to be a responsible YouTuber, and then part of that is to set realistic expectations, or not to raise expectations just based on wishful thinking. In all my years covering mobile games, watching the industry, and also playing them and covering them myself, I have seen times where the global community kind of works itself up over, unfounded rumors, raising their expectations too high. And then when the actual thing comes, everyone's disappointed because it doesn't match the expectations that were raised on nothing, on hype, on wishful thinking. And so one thing I want to avoid in my coverage is raising expectations based in nothing. And if you've seen as much as I have over the years, especially here in Japan, I am generally pessimistic about everything when it comes to mobile games. But the great thing about being better safe than sorry, which is my approach to covering mobile games, is that if I am wrong, then we get more game, and that's a good thing. I hope I am wrong. I really enjoy Nier Reincarnation. I think they are doing amazing things with it. But yeah, as always, I'm going to enjoy what I can in the moment, and I'm not going to set up people for disappointment down the line. Okay, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.